Great grand rising. Come on in, come on in. All right, we are here, we are here. All right, take this moment, go tag somebody, let them know Spiritual Success TV is live. Come on in and let's do what we do over here. Let's activate the success mind. With that being said, go ahead and sit with your feet flat, back straight. Yes, sit straight up, hand on heart, hand on core, just to signal the nervous system, the subconscious mind, we're ready to relax, calm down, and we're open to receive. Take a good healing deep breath in through the nostrils. Fill up those lungs. Breathe out fully and completely through the mouth. And relax. From the crown of the head, starting with the skin over the scalp, let it relax. That will automatically pull the eyes and the cheeks down. Drop those shoulders down from your ears. Relax the arms, the torso, the midsection, your thighs, your legs, your feet. We feel the feet under us. We feel the chair we're sitting in. If you're sitting, we are grounded. We are anchored. We want the spirit to be able to soar. Take a good healing deep breath in. Exhale. Turn the focus inward now to the rich inner life of the kingdom of God within, the universe within. This place that is filled with unlimited potential, unlimited possibility, filled with everything that you need, everything you desire, every question that you can ask, there is an answer. Tapping in, tapping in, tapping in. Deep breath in and exhale. And relax. Come on and just stir a heart of gratitude. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We're so thankful. We're so grateful for another day. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Grateful for another opportunity. Come on in, come on in, come on in. All right, lovelies, we are in a brand new month. This is the month of May. And can you believe we're 5 years, 5 months in. Let me see if I could pull up these comments on Facebook. Let me do this, turn this down. And give me a second. Let me get this set up so I can see what's going on. So I can see what's going on here with the comments on Facebook. All right. Okay, so look, I'm not even seeing myself live yet on Facebook. So come on in, come on in, come on in. There I go. Okay, we're there. So we're waiting for the comments to come in. All right, lovelies. We are here and we're so happy, so excited that we get to be here. Anyone thankful for another day, thankful for another opportunity to be here. All right, beloved, what I want to continue to talk about, we've been talking about expectation and how to live in the zone of creating new expectation. And what I want to talk about today is being able to navigate the gap. We all know that many times you will set an intention. You will set a goal. There is something that you desire, that you want to manifest, something that you want to achieve. And you're happy about it and you are excited about it, right? But then something happens. And life happens many times. And then when you look around, there's a big gap in between the intention you set out and the end result you desire. You find yourself in a gap. Come on in, guys. Come on, give me a great grand rising. Let me know that you're here. Let me check the comments and see what we got. All right, give me a great grand rising. Great grand rising, Pastor Darlene. I'm looking for you. I called you. All right, I'm going to check with you later today or tomorrow, okay? All right, great grand rising. Come on in, come on in, come on in. All right? So there's a gap. And so today we want to talk about how to successfully navigate the gap. When you find yourself in a gap, and the gap is that space between setting intention, setting goals, or tapping into your desire and the end result. And so when we talk about this, and I see this in my community, And we all experience this, that when you set out and when you're on a path and you're on a course, what happens most of the time is that when life begins to happen, we fall into that space of disappointment. And we've been talking about that, right? Forget the disappointment. We just want to continue to expect the good stuff to show up. So today I want to talk about how to navigate the gap. When you navigate the gap, what is that? The gap is a place of three things. It's a place of distraction. It's a place of deprivation. It's a place of depression. It's a place of misconception. It's a place of illusion. I want you to write that down. It's a place of distraction. It's a place of deprivation, depression, misconception, right? So when we look at this and we start thinking about what happens when we fall into that gap, anything can trigger you. Anything at all can trigger you. And that is the beauty about learning how to navigate through the gap. The gap shows up, beloved, even when you don't think that you're in a gap. Like I said, we can be triggered by anything, right? But what we want to do instead is that it is important in this season that you learn new skills. Can you somebody talk back to me and type in the chat? It's time to learn new skills. Come on. It's time to learn new skills. What skills are you talking about, Dr. E? I'm talking about the skills of mindset management, energy management, and forward moving. One of the things that I'm finding as we continue to live, as we age and grow, science tells us by the time you are 35 years old, your personality is already hardwired. In other words, you are already hardwired for your same routine, for your same decision-making process, for your same desires, for your same choices. By the time you're 35, that personality is hardwired. But it doesn't matter today if you're 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. I saw a news clip the other day, not a news clip, but something was being posted. Grand Rising, Lisa, thanks for joining us live, right? And it was, I think Al Sharpton was there. A few other people was there, but they mentioned my first bishop back in Brooklyn, Bishop Herbert Daughtry, and he had been at this event and he spoke at the event, and they said he's in his 90s and he's still going strong. Y'all better take a moment and go with me. To be in your 90s and still be able to accept invitations and go out and do keynote speaking, public speaking, that is beautiful. So that's why I included that. So listen, I want to encourage you today. If you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, it's not too late. Can somebody talk back to me and say, when we learn about learning new skills, it's time to learn new skills. I want you to become a master of managing yourself, of managing you. And somebody type, come on, I am a master at managing me. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about what it means to be able to manage yourself. So when we fall into the gap, or when the gap shows up, let's say it like that. When that gap shows up and something triggers you, and the gap causes you to be distracted, watch this, come on, let's go. The gap will cause you to become distracted where you forgot what your original intention was. You forget what that goal was. You forget the reason that you are on the path that you're on. And I want to speak prophetically today. I want to use all of my prophetic and apostolic grace to breathe into your life today. Because I know, I could tell some of you are in a place where you're in the place of what I call the wanderings, where you're wandering and you're spinning around in your head and you're trying to figure things out, and you're there and you don't move far from there before you go back. In my community, we have a spiritual success tool called the 1 in 7. And it is an excellent tool. I use it all the time myself. That is how we get those spiritual success tools. There are things that I work and use in my life. And beloved, trust me, when you're living in your head, I want you to hear this. When you're living in your head all the time, and I'm not even speaking about, the creepy crap, but you're used to running everything just in a mental realm, and you're not doing anything in a physical realm, that is how you can be trapped in a loop. You're trapped in your loop of the same decision making, the same choices, the same results, because you're just working with mental energy that's on a loop that is used to your habits, used to your patterns, right? But God wants each and every one of us to come into mastery. That is the will of God. If you want to know what the will of God is for you, it is to come into mastery. I said this a few weeks ago. It doesn't make sense for you to always praise, worship, and honor God, but you deny yourself. Can somebody talk back to me? It makes no sense for you to praise, worship, honor God continually, day after day, week after week, year after year. You're in your place of worship and you just praising and you know how to go in. But when you come out of worship, you deny yourself. That is not true worship, right? The true worship is your acts of giving and giving of yourself in service to the world, and service to your community, and service to your family. Grand Rising, Reese, thanks for joining me live, right? That is true worship. The first time we see worship mentioned in biblical text, the Bible, sacred text, right? You see this where Abram took the boy Isaac to the mountain. He said, me and the lad is going to walk off a bit, I'm paraphrasing, and I'm going to worship. What was the worship? It was giving. It was giving something. And so when you are not allowing yourself to become skillful, to become a master at managing yourself, you will not give yourself in a way that is pleasing to God. This morning, the sacred text came to my mind. Grand Rising, Marcus, thanks for joining us live. The sacred text came to my mind that's very popular from, I believe it's the Hebrew writer. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong. Y'all know where I am with that. Said that without faith, and somebody please correct me about this one because I want to know for myself, it's impossible to please God. And so I know that those of us that grew up in and around church, you need a brand new insight, definition, and understanding about what faith is and what faith looks like in operation, because we just attach faith to belief. And trust me, if you come from a Pentecostal apostolic background in your faith, I know that you have a whole lot of baggage around faith and believing, right? But we want to clear that up. Again, I want to use all of my prophetic and apostolic grace for those of you that understand that languaging. I want to use all of my godly authority today to blow the wind of change in your direction, where you're able to come into mastery of yourself. So when we set out with intention, all of this, I'm saying all of this today, beloved, so that we all become more proficient in what we're creating and what we're manifesting. It makes no sense, again, it makes no sense to praise, worship, and honor God and deny yourself. It makes no sense to understand deep esoteric spiritual principles, but you never put it into practice. That's what we want to clear up. That's what we want to focus in on, that you can take this deep metaphysical, esoteric understanding of spiritual law and spiritual principle and start operating at it. But first today, I want you to see yourself as a master, as a doctor. In our society, the highest form of training that we get, in the educational system is to become a doctor, to get a doctorate, right? Meaning that you have gone beyond mastery, where you are in the place where you're able to really serve as a practitioner and help, guide, nurture, direct many, many people. And you can do it without having to have a guide. You've gone through enough where you're a master, you're a doctor, and you can go on. Now, there's always more learning, there's always help, there's always assistance. I'm not saying that. My whole point is, beloved, is that you have to be willing to become a master, to master yourself. So when we set out with intention, and we're in our mental mind with intention, but you never take it out of the mental realm, put it in the 2D realm of pen and paper, and then start taking the forward movement and action, we don't get to operate and exercise in what we know. I want to stress this again, because I want to pull you out of that realm where you're thinking that, praise, worship, honor, giving glory to God, but consistently denying yourself is worship. That is not worship. Again, worship is about giving of yourself, giving of your resources, giving of your substance, right? That is what true worship is. So when we fall into the gap, or when we encounter the gap is full of distractions. So you'll notice that life happens and you become distracted. Detract, to pull away from, meaning that you were going in this direction. You were clear moving in this direction, but then life happens, something triggers you, and you encounter the gap where now you're in the place we talked about a few weeks ago, the place of disappointment, right? You're in the place of disappointment. You're in the place of disillusionment. You're in a place where you are distracted, where you turned your focus and attention from the goal, from the intention, from the belief, from the knowing, and now you're looking at what's being played out in front of you like a movie, right? So for those of you that know this, talk back to me. Grand Rising, Katina, thanks for joining us live today. For those of you that know me and been traveling with me, right? And I had an opportunity to test this out, not test it out, but to put it into practice, as I always do. When life happens, and something unexpected shows up to interrupt, hear me, beloved, if you can train yourself how to stay locked into high 4D, 5D, divine imagination, Christ consciousness, high 5D, to stay there, you will literally see that movie that's playing out in 3D start changing and shifting. Y'all don't want to mess with me today. I'm getting ready to speak in tongues and all of that. Did you hear what I'm saying? Now, I know you all have done this, but we want to get in a place where we are mastering this, that we immediately shift from the distraction and stay focused on the intention from the heart, the intention from the heart, the call, the directive, the prophetic directive, what you've been asked to do in this moment. Stay focused there. When you stay focused and you're in zero mind and you're in calm, peace, and balance and homeostasis, right? then you will literally see that interruption that came to distract you. You'll start seeing it unravel. You'll start seeing it change and shift right before your eyes. Somebody talk back to me and say, I am a master of myself. Come on. I'm a master of myself. So when the gap is there, it's distraction. Distraction pulls and turns you away. Not only is distraction there, deprivation is there. And when deprivation is in an advanced stage, it turns into a self-depriving energy. Somebody talk back to me. A self-depriving energy. And the word deprive means that you remove or you withhold something, or you refuse to allow the enjoyment or the possession of something. Y'all talk back to me. How many of you can recognize and say, Dr. E, that's where I've lived for a long time? You're going through the motions. You're touching and scratching the surface of what you can do. But overall, somebody talk back to me. Tell the truth now. Be honest. Be vulnerable. Be authentic. I've been operating with self-depriving energy. And some of you have taken that negative vow of self-deprivation, where you keep and continually deny you. Y'all better talk back to me today. You're continually denying yourself. You're denying yourself because you fall into the gap and you fall into the hypnotic stage of soothing, and then you're distracted, you're in self-deprivation, and then when you look around again, you're in depression. What do all of these things have in common? Depressed, meaning that you're taking your beautiful, lovely, anointed, graceful, powerful spirit, the part of you that's like God, that wants to be fully expressed in this earth realm. You are taking that part of you and you're pressing it down. Watch this. What are you pressing it down in? Grand Rising, Andrea. What are you pressing it down? That is what depression means. You're taking your God self, the part of you that is here to impact, and you're pressing it down. And you're pressing it down and depriving yourself. And now you're operating with an energy of self-denial, a self-depriving energy. I hear somebody saying, Dr. E, talk more about this because I hear something. You deprive yourself and don't realize how much you are depriving yourself when you don't show up. You're not showing up, beloved. Can we come in here? Come on, I'm covering you with an apostolic grace today because we want to blow a wind in your direction where you come back focused. You come back centered. You come back focused. And we want to remove that distraction, the self-depriving energy, and the depression. And so some people are functional in their depression and you don't realize you're depressed, right? So we know what depression is in a clinical sense, right? I want you to understand what depression is in an esoteric spiritual sense. It is the pressing down of the God self, refusing to allow the best of you to be seen, the best of you to be experienced. So when you're in the gap, you want to recognize, okay, I'm in the gap because I'm no longer looking at my desire. Thank you, Andrea. Yes, I'm no longer looking at my intention. I don't even remember what my intention was. We are 5 months in, right off the bat. Can somebody tell me that you still are in, you're still actively connected to, and you're still working with what you said you were going to accomplish this year? I mean, you're in there. Or is that somewhere written down and you have to go back and look at it to see what it is? Can somebody be honest and talk today? Because you can't get delivered, set free, or transformed if you're not willing to be honest. Right. Andrea, good question, Andrea. How do you actually show up for yourself when the seed is planted? It's stolen immediately. Yes. I have no clue what show up for you means. Is it an action? Yes, Katina, the pressing down our God given self. Yes, Katina. Yes, Andrea. That is so true. I remember years ago on my personal journey, Andrea, I was in the same place because back then, like in the 90s, they started talking about more about self-worth, self-esteem, valuing yourself, knowing that you're worthy. And I remember in the early 90s, like coming out of the 80s into the early 90s, I remember asking the question, how do I value myself? How do I get this self-worth, right? Because we're all functioning. Can we be honest? We're all functioning. We're all out in the world taking care of business, but we're not being our authentic self. This is what show up for yourself means. Show up for yourself means that you're going to honor who you are and what you are here to do. And every day you take a teeny tiny step and you show up. Showing up for yourself means that you are no longer operating in that negative vow of invisibility where you're afraid to be seen for who you are. This is what showing up means. It means not being afraid to be seen for who you truly are. Can you write that down? That is what vulnerability is, right? In my community, my mentor talk about being visible and being vulnerable. I share that in my community as well. That's what being vulnerable is about. And the reason why, Andrea, is like she said, the reason why it gets stolen and it's get taken away as soon as you get it, I want you all to follow me because this is important. It's because of everything that's already pre-programmed in you based on what you experience. So like I said earlier, right? By the time, science says, by the time you're 35, your personality is already hardwired in your brain and in your nervous system. Your actions, reactions, decision-making, choice, all those processes is already hardwired. And so when you get an idea and you get an inspiration, when the hard wiring is in the brain and the brain is already, the message is embedded in the subconscious mind, it kicks it out automatically because the message that's embedded is, I'm afraid to be myself. And for many of us, it goes back to childhood experiences. It goes back to childhood experiences where we were told, like I said last week, you're showing off. You're just a show off. Go somewhere and sit down. What did that teach me? How to hide and be invisible, right? You're too loud. You talk too much. Go somewhere. All of that stuff. We encountered that as children. So all of that gets hardwired so that as an adult now, you're ready to move forward. You know you have a call on your life. You know what you're being asked to do. But watch this. Because we're hardwired to protect ourselves, when we go forward, watch this, and y'all talk back to me because I know you experienced this. That's why you get confused. You get brain fog. You start something, but you won't finish it. I had somebody tell me the other day, this is the first time in my life I actually completed a book from start to finish. Their norm is to buy a book they're interested in, flip through the book and see what they're interested in, read that and put the book down. That is fine. That is fine when you're in an advanced place. But if the habit, as this person was, that was hardwired, the norm was they couldn't complete anything. So they would buy a book and wouldn't complete it. Whatever they start, they would never finish. It's because of all the other pre-wiring that's in. So back to you, Andrea. Showing up for yourself is you being willing to be seen and heard for who you truly are. And you start showing up by showing up for you first. Y'all write this down. You do everything for yourself first. Myself and my community, we're starting when we come back, not tomorrow, no SSL tomorrow. When we come back next Monday, we're starting a new chapter, right? Everything that you do it for yourself first. You make it work for you first. Show up for yourself first. What does that look like? That means you're going to keep your word to yourself. I saw where I put some new things on my calendar to do some different activity and practices. And watch this, true to what I'm saying, I had forgot I did that. I did that, I would say, a couple of months ago, and I scheduled it out a couple of months to give myself time to work with me, to get myself back in the mode so that I can do these new activities, right? And what happened today, I said, let me scroll, let me look through. As a matter of fact, I had to schedule an appointment, and I had to look at the dates later on this month to see what was available. And when I looked later on, I saw where I have blocked off those time frames a couple of months ago for these new activities. Honestly, I had forgotten. So what I'm telling you, listen, we all experienced this. I had completely forgotten that I said I was going to do those specific things. But am I still tapped into my overall intention for this year? Yes. That's a part of it. That's the next phase of it. So you do it for you. So when you show up for yourself first, you start keeping your word to yourself. So if you say, I'm going to start working out 3 times a week because I want to, release some weight, I want to get healthy, I want to feel good, show up for yourself. That's what showing up for yourself means. And when you do that and you take one teeny tiny step at a time, can I bring this in today? Because I feel to just go ahead and grab this and bring it in. You're scattered. I'm talking to everybody that's scattered. So many things is running through your mind. Do this, do that, go here, go there, hear this, listen to this, buy that. I'm pulling you in. I'm gathering you and pulling you in, coming into calmness. Come back to zero. And zero is all is well. Nothing missing. Nothing broken. No place to be. Nothing that needs to be done. Come on, that's what they say in the world. Whoopsa, right? Nothing needs to be done. No place I have to be. Nothing I need to make happen. I don't care what's pressing you in 3D. Come on in. Zero. All is well. Bring yourself back here 5, 10, 15, 20 times a day. Take that deep breath. Exhale. Relax. All is well. This is how you're going to start showing up for yourself. You're going to start keeping your word to yourself, right? You're going to do what's necessary for you. That's how you start showing up, Andrea. So it takes getting clear. And remember, I always say, guys, it's getting clear from the heart, not from the head, because the head is going to spin you around. And if you're creative, if you're prophetic, if you're intuitive, you're going to get hits as soon as you tap in, right? You're going to get inspiration. You're going to get ideas. But you want to be able to grab it, to grab that inspiration, hold it, and take a teeny tiny step and stay with it. In my community and even with my own mentors, listen, anytime we start something new, a new task, we make a commitment that we're going to stick with it for 30 to 90 days. So say, for instance, if I say, okay, I'm going to show up differently on social media, and I want to start posting my daily whatever. And if I feel that that was a hit that I got from my heart, not from what's trendy, not from what's social media savvy and what's trending, not that, but what my own heart is saying. I want you to show up like this. When I say I'm going to do it, I want to stick with that a minimum of 30 days before I switch to something else. What I have recognized in our community is that the reason why we're not seeing more results is that we don't know how to stay consistent, how to stick with something until we get to the end of it. So we want to become masters of ourselves. So we're going to talk more about that next week. How to become masters of yourself. And I'm going to give you these 3 things and you can start meditating on it. You want to start with mindset management, because if you're still in mindset misery, where your mind is always beating you up, talking negative, showing you trauma, showing you drama, telling you won't work, you have to transition from there. And the way to transition from mindset misery is to become aware of how you're thinking, how you're feeling, what you're speaking. It's so much, beloved. But this is the time now we have to put these boundaries in place. This is why when I work one-on-one with people, I ask for a 12-month commitment. 12 months a minimum. Sometime I'll do 6, but we see 6 months sometimes is not enough, especially if you're in a place where you're still in mindset misery and you have not yet become adapted to certain spiritual laws and principles. You need that 12 months because now you have to break the habit of being you, as Dr. Joe Dispenza says. You're coming up against all your habits, your thought patterns, your feelings, your emotions, your soothings, your high. You're coming up against all of that. And you have to begin to recognize and see you. And it takes time. That's why sacred text tells us, beloved, be anxious for nothing. Be anxious for nothing, right? But with everything we do, we just want to let our request be known. But more so than that, you want to get to know yourself. So that's how we start coming into mindset management once we come out of misery. Then you want to start coming into energy management. Once you start managing your mindset, you manage your energy, your spirit, your nervous system, right? And then we want to be able to go into forward movement, forward movement, forward movement. I can feel this, and I'm closing with this, beloved, that prophetically I feel us shifting and entering to new phases of growth. Somebody talk back to me and say, I'm in a new phase of growth. I feel that very deeply. The whole world in 3D is in the gap right now. They're in the gap because we're leaving the old structure that's been torn down, but not yet fully created or entered into the new structure, the new systems. They're in a gap of confusion and chaos and distraction, right? And so we want to do what is necessary. I feel new stages of growth. Can somebody talk back and say, I'm in a new stage of growth? I want to invite you, listen, if you're ready to come into new stage of growth, there's a scroll in there. Come on, contact me. Let's have a one-on-one. Let's have a deep and meaningful conversation so that you can get some clarity about what would be good next steps for you. Good next steps for you, right? Take a good healing deep breath in, beloved, and exhale. And I'm going to invite you, because I'm being asked, and somebody told me you have to do this every week, Dr. E, to sow seed, right? Last week we did anything in the division of 4. Today I'm going to ask you to sow $7.77. Come on, these are all the ways that you could sow. Just to say that I got this word. I got this word. And I'm going to learn to navigate the gap. For somebody, they're saying, Dr. E, that's too low. Come on, $77.77. Come on, grab a hold to the word. And in the comment, put, I am in a new growth stage. And you're going to see the result. That is the purpose of taking something tangible and putting it to this word. I am in a new growth stage, a new growth seed. That's what we're going to call the seed. New growth seed. All right. New growth seed. All right, lovelies, share this, like this. You may have to go out of Facebook, come back, hit the like button, please. Share this. This is how I'm going to get out of the algorithm that I'm locked in where people cannot find me. They can't see my content. Even though I have thousands of friends on Facebook, they are not getting notifications. They are not seeing this. But if we interact, we talk back and forth, you share this, you comment, it tells the algorithm that this is important content and let more people see it. All right. All right, lovelies. I'm going to release you with many blessings for the rest of your day and the rest of your week. And again, no SSL tomorrow. I will see you the following Monday. If you have a private session on Wednesday, we will meet. On Tuesday, we will not. Tuesday is the first Tuesday, but Wednesday is the second Wednesday. So if you have private sessions with me on Wednesdays, we will be meeting this week. All right, lovelies. Have a blessed, wonderful, and amazing rest of your day. Bye-bye.